Hi, Year 9 English. I hope that you have survived yet another week in isolation as best as possible. I hope that you're keeping in contact with your friends and that you are keeping up with homework, but also being kind to yourself. Okay, so this week in English, we're continuing to develop our understanding of how short stories are constructed, and we're also going to begin writing a little bit more creatively. So this week you were asked to read the story Thank You Ma'am by Langston Hughes and answer questions based on that text. You were also asked to chart the narrative structure of the story, and that is, if you recall, the pyramid, where you draw a pyramid sort of like that on your piece of paper, and then you tell me what the orientation is, the complication, uh, the resolution, all of that stuff that we did for not only the Roald Dahl story, but we also did it a little bit for Cinderella, just to kind of show you how it all worked. So for Thank You Ma'am, after you have answered the questions and charted the narrative structure, you now have to write a 400-word piece from the lady's perspective. So you need to think about why she's so kind to the boy. What made her choose compassion and kindness over the letter of the law and making him face the consequences of his actions of trying to steal her pocketbook or purse. So please watch the following section and hopefully this will help you develop your 400-word response. Okay, so here is a sample piece of creative writing that I developed in response to Thank You Ma'am by Langston Hughes. This is written from the perspective of the lady who is in the story. So it begins with, well, what do you know? I was walking on the pavement on the street leading home with the thoughts of warm ham and lima beans running through my head when I felt someone try and snatch my purse. My purse. I looked behind me and saw a dishevelled boy who now lay on the pavement. He looked dazed and a little bit afraid. And dirty. My God, was he dirty and in need of a good clean. My initial reaction to the attempted theft of my pocketbook was anger. How dare he try and take my pocketbook? But as I saw this young boy sprawled on the hard concrete, I felt a prickling of recognition. It wasn't so long ago it was me who used to try and steal to get ahead. Life is hard. You got to do what you can to survive. Me, of all people, know that. But if I could help this boy leave this hard life behind and look to escape this poverty, then so I would. I remember when, and that's when, I would throw in a story about when she was on the streets and she had to do something that was morally ambiguous or, questionable in order to survive. Now, some of those sentences aren't grammatically correct, but I tried to write in a way that was similar to the way that she spoke. And look, I did the best I can. So this is basically what I'm after. I'm looking for you to write about 400 words from her perspective. I want you to think about why she would help the boy instead of taking him straight to the police, and invent a reason, of her experiences growing up. Did she live on the street? How did that happen? What kind of things did she do that made her compassionate and kind towards the boy? So, what did I think about as I wrote my story? What did I include? Well, I included details about the initial robbery from her point of view, what she would have seen as the boy fell down, what she would have been thinking. I also tried to invent a story, a backstory about her time on the streets and why she is so sympathetic to the boy. I also included the detail about ham and lima beans that she offered the boy for dinner. So the task that you will be doing is reading through the story and finding those little details that will help you write from her perspective to really give the story some substance and demonstrate that you know how to throw in a few details from the text and demonstrate your knowledge of the text or short story.